This evening, first, Prime Minister Mark Phillips meets with Digicel executives to push for better telecommunication coverage in Guyana's remote areas. We'll tell you what's being done to keep everyone connected, no matter where they live. Plus, a $6 billion homestep program designed for single mothers is set to launch along the Suicide-Linden Highway. We'll take you inside this innovative project that's aiming to lift families out of poverty with sustainable living. Then, over 2,000 families are one step closer to home ownership after receiving house lots and building materials at the International Building Expo. We'll bring you the stories of those who are now realizing their dreams. Also, in a heartwarming story, a young man from Linden receives a new home through the Men on a Mission initiative, offering hope to a family that has overcome incredible challenges. Finally, we'll have the latest from Brazil, where forensic teams are working to identify victims of a tragic plane crash that claimed 62 lives. Stay with us for these stories and more coming up on tonight's broadcast. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for August 13, 2024. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips met on Monday with Digicel Guyana Chief Executive Officer Diana Ryan Gopal and two senior executives with discussions focused on expanding telecommunications coverage and improving services across the country, particularly in remote and underserved areas in the hinterland. Prime Minister Phillips emphasized the importance of enhancing connectivity in these regions as the official responsible for the telecommunications sector. Both parties expressed a strong commitment to improving the telecommunications infrastructure in Guyana, with a shared goal of achieving significant advancements in service quality and accessibility, especially in the hinterland. The meeting also included the participation of Andre Griffith, Director of the Telecommunications Authority, underscoring the collaborative effort between the government and private sector to strengthen Ghana's telecommunications landscape. Also making the headlines, the master plan for a $6 billion homestep program aimed at single mothers along the Suicide-Linden Highway has been finalized, with the project set to begin soon, according to President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali. The initiative, which was unveiled during a meeting with government ministers, technical officials, and banking industry representatives, will see the construction of 500 homes on 100 acres in Yarra Cabra. The homes will feature agricultural facilities and solar energy, creating a self-sustaining ecosystem. The project, expected to be completed within 6 months, involves collaboration between several ministries and aims to boost food production and provide a steady income for residents. This innovative program is designed to help single mothers transition from poverty into middle-income families by integrating sustainable agriculture into their living conditions. The government continues to focus on improving low-income households' quality of life and economic stability. Moving on, around 2,000 families from regions 3 and 4 are now on the path to home ownership after receiving house lots during the Ministry of Housing and Water's Dream Realized housing drive at the 2024 International Building Exposition. The allocations were made in Wales Phase 2 and Nonpareil and Le Bon Intention Phases 3 and 4 on the east coast of Demerara. The distribution was led by Housing Ministers Colin Crowell and Susan Rodrigues, along with CHPA CEO Sharon Graves. Beneficiaries expressed their excitement and pride, with many highlighting the importance of owning land for family stability and future planning. In addition to the housing lots, over 1,500 people received certificates of title for lands in various areas, including Low Reconnaissance, Cummins Lodge, and Great Diamond. These documents will help landowners secure mortgages and build their homes. Additionally, 82 residents from Region 4 received steel and cement vouchers worth $225,000 each. These vouchers will help them begin construction on their homes. The initiative, which aims to make home ownership more accessible, offers 1 sling of cement and steel for homes valued at $6 million or below, and 2 slings of cement for homes between $6 million and $25 million. Recipients expressed relief and gratitude, noting that the vouchers will significantly help them start or continue construction on their homes. This housing subsidy program, launched in late 2022, has already issued over 520 vouchers to Region 4 residents, reinforcing the government's commitment to improving the standard of living through homeownership. Stick around when we return. Minister of Natural Resources hands over a new home to visually impaired Linden resident, and government invests over $400 million in North Pacaraim's development projects.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized care, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness. Or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Rose Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
See clearly with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common Smalls make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. On Sunday, Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Bharat officially handed over a new home to Rolf Summers, a 20-year-old Blueberry Hill Linden Region 10 resident. This initiative was part of the Men on a Missions program, a One Guyana initiative led by President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali. Summers, who was born with a visual impairment, comes from a family where blindness has affected multiple generations, making it challenging for them to find employment and support their loved ones. Despite these difficulties, the Summers family has remained resilient, finding solace in their sheer love of music. The handover of the new home marks a significant improvement in Summers' living condition, offering hope and stability to a family that has faced numerous challenges. In other news, expansion work has begun at the Linden Technical Institute to improve education delivery in Region 10. The project, valued over $43 million, was officially launched by Education Minister Priya Manichan, who highlighted its importance for technical and vocational education in the area. The expansion, carried out by Phoenix Engineering Enterprise, will take 6 months and increase the Institute's capacity to serve 250 students with improved facilities and cutting-edge training. Additionally, 5 students from the Institute will gain hands-on experience by working on the project. In a related development, Minister Manichan also initiated a $74 million project at Diamond Secondary School to construct an exterior block benefiting 750 students from the Diamond area. This project, managed by Simcon Engineering Incorporated, is expected to be completed in 7 months and is part of the Ministry of Education's broader efforts to enhance educational facilities nationwide. On a different note, the government is investing more than $400 million in the North Pacarima sub-district of Region 8 to enhance the livelihoods of the First People. Funded by the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs, these investments will support projects in art and craft, tourism, income-generating ventures, women's empowerment, and agriculture. During a regional Tishaus meeting in Paramakatoy, Minister of Amerindian Affairs, Pauline Sukai, announced the allocation of $45 million to Paramakatoy, Monkey Mountain, and Kurukuburu for establishing mechanic shops, which will create job opportunities for youth and boost local revenue. Additional funding will be distributed to other villages for various initiatives, including building guest houses, supporting women's sewing groups, setting up farine factories, and initiating livestock rearing. Minister Sukai emphasized the role of the village councils in managing these resources effectively and ensuring transparency and accountability. She urged village leaders to engage their communities to identify and address their needs. The investments reflect the government's commitment to advancing Amerindian development and addressing community challenges. Preparations are underway for the National Tishaus Conference, where Amerindian leaders will meet with President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali and his cabinet soon. Don't go away after the break. Kenya cult leader Paul Mackenzie on trial for manslaughter, and Turkey's housing market in crisis. Tenants and property owners clash over skyrocketing prices.
Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized care, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness. Or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Crow Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common Smalls make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown, telephone 226-1082.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. Dengue cases in St. Vincent and the Grenadines have surged to 213, up by 100 in just a week, according to Prime Minister Dr. Rolf Gonsalves. 17 people, mostly children, have been hospitalized. Increased mosquito fogging is underway. Dr. Gonsalves urged the public to eliminate mosquito breeding sites, highlighting the dangers posed by stagnant water in barrels and containers. He also noted that while 213 cases have been confirmed, there may be additional unreported cases. Meanwhile, families of the 62 people killed in a plane crash in Brazil are helping forensic teams identify the bodies. The first two to be identified were the pilot and co-pilot. Meanwhile, investigations are underway to determine what caused the tragedy. Al Jazeera's Monica Yannick reports.
Emergency responders working in the rain and around the clock to retrieve all 62 bodies, victims of a deadly plane crash on Friday that sent shockwaves across Brazil. Family members are being asked by authorities to help identify their relatives at the Legal Medical Institute of São Paulo, where the bodies were taken.
We are concentrating on providing specialized assistance from psychologists, social workers and legal advisors to meet the families' requirements and priorities. We're focusing on the well-being of the families.
More than 50 bodies have been recovered, but most were so badly burned identification will take time.
The bodies were carbonized and are being transferred to the morgue in Sao Paulo, where they will be x-rayed and DNA tests will be done to identify them.
The aircraft was carrying 58 passengers and 4 crew members from the southern state of Paraná to Brazil's largest city, São Paulo, when disaster struck. Nearing its destination, the plane suddenly lost speed and altitude, spinning out of control and plunging to the ground. It exploded on impact in the backyard of a house in the midst of a residential condominium complex.
There were 3 people in the house, me, my wife and the maid. We're all fine. At the time we thought it was a helicopter crashing. I was almost leaving the house and suddenly we saw the aircraft exploding in the backyard.
Rescuers rushed to put out the fire before it spread to neighboring houses. Then they began to search for bodies in the debris. The regional airline company Voipaz released the name of all victims, among them a family from Venezuela and a teacher from Portugal. Brazilian authorities have already recovered the 2 flight recorders, which they say will help them piece together what happened. Brazil's Air Force has already said that the pilot did not report an emergency or adverse weather conditions. Brazilian authorities say the investigation to determine the cause of the tragedy should take at least a month. Monica Yannick of Al Jazeera, Rio de Janeiro.
Internationally, Turkey's housing market has reached a crisis point, with its 2 largest cities witnessing the world's fastest house price growth over the past year. Rents have surged 6-fold in the last 4 years. Soaring costs have led to violent confrontations between landlords and tenants. Al Jazeera's Simeon Gosoglu reports.
With 1 million residents, Esenyurt is the most crowded of Istanbul's 57 districts. But like much of the city, it is becoming increasingly unaffordable. Abdulatif is having to move for a second time in 10 months. His latest landlord wants to raise the rent by 60%.
We're spending half of our wages to exercise our most fundamental entitlement, housing. There isn't much left for us for other expenses. We're just trying to survive, let alone live a normal life.
Rents have grown 6-fold over the last 4 years across Turkey. Naime may have retired, but she's burdened with assisting her married son.
Despite the fact that both of them work, my son and wife live on a shoestring. I pay their rent with my own pension to help.
Nevin is overwhelmed by the rent she has to pay for her family and for her daughter studying in a different city.
As soon as my son and daughter graduate, we plan to return to our village. There's no future. How much longer can we rent?
Housing and rental prices in Istanbul are the highest across Turkey because it is the most populous city. It accounts nearly half of the national economy. It is also popular among foreign property buyers and hosts hundreds of thousands of refugees. Experts say the government's insistence on preserving low interest rates helped fuel the housing market during the pandemic.
Faiz politikasını sürdürebilmek için
Other investment tools were restricted in order to maintain the low interest rate policy. Seeing that an inflationary era would arrive, people didn't invest in the Turkish lira due to poor interest rates. They flocked to hard assets like real estate. That's how prices escalated.
The central bank has since raised interest rates to 50% to tame sky-high inflation, and that impacts homeowners who have been hit with a surge in loan repayments. Fears of a similar earthquake have driven up the price of safer, newer buildings in Istanbul north of a major fault line. Sinem Kösoğlu, Al Jazeera, Istanbul.
Finally, the leader of a Kenyan starvation sect has gone on trial for manslaughter over the deaths of more than 400 of his followers in one of the world's worst cult-related tragedies. Paul Mackenzie, head of the Good News International Church, is currently facing charges of murder, child torture, and terrorism after last April's discovery of hundreds of bodies of his followers who have starved to death on his instructions. Al Jazeera's Stephanie Decker reports.
Handcuffed, they filed out. 94 accused, plus one. The one. Looking thinner than in previous court appearances, Paul Mackenzie, former taxi driver turned preacher. Mackenzie and the others are already facing 3 separate trials, charged with terrorism, murder, and child torture and cruelty. A new trial now, the 4th and final. The charge, manslaughter.
The prosecution shall lead evidence showing how, in pursuit of the suicide pact, the accused persons had planned to have everyone in the church die from starvation or fasting, starting from children to their mothers and finally their fathers, in a false belief or religious victory thereafter.
Mackenzie still coming across as the man in charge, taking advantage of his followers being gathered together in court, all pleading not guilty to all charges.
That in their exercise of their freedom of religion, assembly, and expression, there was no suicide pact, there was no suicide, and there was no death attributable to religion.
Not guilty, they say, of this. Over 400 bodies were exhumed in mass graves in Çakahola forest. Mackenzie's preaching ordered starvation as the only way to make it to heaven. As he said, the end of the world was upon them. Autopsies revealed emaciated bodies, but also beatings and strangulation. His order was that children were to be starved and die first, then women, then men, and he would follow last. Mackenzie now first facing the charges. 5 witness testimonies are scheduled for this week. Further hearings in this case are set for September.
This tragedy has highlighted the lack of regulation when it comes to preachers and pastors. Anyone can set up a church in this deeply religious country. A former taxi driver turned self-appointed man of God, resulting in one of the deadliest religious cults in modern history. Stephanie Decker, Al Jazeera, Mombasa, Kenya.
This brings us to the end of the regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's it to be 2 Headline News for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.